Registered dietitian Ashley Koff went on a sugar fact-finding mission to São Francisco, Brazil, where she toured Native's sugarcane plantation, a worldwide distributor of organic sugar. And there she learned not all sugar is created equal.
In recent years, we've seen exotic food products coming from Brazil, such as the acai, the superfruit, and the explosion of coconut water. But Brazil also supplies the world with basics like sugar and is one of the leaders in organic sugar production for the world. As a dietitian, I like to tell people, yes, you can enjoy great tasting food if you eat it in its whole food form. That often begs the question, though, does that include sugar? I came here to Brazil to learn about organic sugar because I wondered if organic sugar and this form of processing, including all of its benefits for the environment, means that actually some sugar can be part of a healthy diet. This is sugarcane. We're here at Native's Organic Farm in São Francisco, Brazil. And this sugarcane, as I've learned, is grown organically. That means that everything from the bugs to the weeds to the animals are all working together to help this sugarcane reach its fullest potential. And this sugarcane is pretty sweet. I spoke with Lentino Balboa Jr. to get his perspective on supplying the world with organic sugar when it seems like the government and health professionals here are raising flags about sugar and its role in the obesity epidemic.
I came back to people who eat cane sugar, but depending on the lifestyle, it will affect your silhouette, your weight. I'm 50 years old, I eat a lot of sugar, and I have 7% fat in my body.
And you're very active, so I think that the point that you're making is that it really has to relate to your consumption has to match your activity, but the organic cane sugar is what the body's going to recognize, right, and use as fuel.
So I often get the question from consumers, well, isn't fruit juice sweetened better for us than sugar? And so I asked this question to Crofters, a leading manufacturer of organic fruit spreads, who utilizes both sweeteners in their products.
Do you feel fruit juice sweetened, one's healthier versus the other?
Honestly, I don't believe that's true, and I think there is a misperception among consumers on what is sugar. And we often get asked that question. I want the jam that doesn't have any sugar, thinking that grape concentrate or other fruit concentrates don't contain sugar. But in fact, white grape concentrate, which is one of our other major sweeteners, is 70% sugar. In terms of health, I mean, it's more a matter of how much sugar you consume and how you consume it, and it's not really the sugar that's unhealthy in that sense.
Right. So where I jump in is, I think, exactly where you would say, and it's the portion control, and you're looking at things that are, I think your spreads are 35 calories per serving,
That's
and I think if somebody observes the serving size, then whether you're choosing the fruit juice sweetened or the sugar sweetened, you can enjoy your jam,
absolutely,
barring any metabolic issues that one might have.
So I'm hearing that organic sugar is part of a healthy diet, but what does it mean if it's coming from Brazil, which is so far away from many of us? Does the lack of being local take away from the benefits of organic sugar?
Here all the time, I'm a locavore. It's all about local.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to point out in the case of sugar is that we don't have the local option in the U.S., correct? In terms of...
No, there's a local sugar industry. There's a huge amount of cane and sugar beet grown in the U.S.
Okay, and where is that grown?
The sugar beet is in the northern climates, and cane is grown in the southernmost part of the United States, predominantly Louisiana and Florida. Being local isn't necessarily the way to reduce your carbon footprint. There's been several studies about this. This project in particular is carbon neutral. When they did the carbon inventory, they took into account the transport to its final market. Obviously, all their sugar is not consumed in Brazil, so they obviously have to take into account that. Ocean freight is remarkably efficient. And so it can often trump things that you have to do locally in order to grow produce. So in the winter in New England, where I'm from, you have the choice of a South American tomato that's grown in season and brought in by ocean freight, or a hothouse tomato from Vermont. And you would think that the local choice would be best in that case, and it's not. The energy required to heat the greenhouse in Vermont.
I see, because it gets pretty cold in Vermont,
far,
right? Yeah.
Far trumps
right.
the small amount
right.
In terms of each tomato.
Sugar creating energy. We knew that was the case in our bodies, but it's interesting to learn that organic cane sugar, as produced here, creates usable energy in the form of ethanol, as well as saves water. That puts a few more checks in the pro column for organic sugar. As I caught up with author Elizabeth Abbott, she provides some words of caution and suggests we take a lesson from the historic role of sugar in the diet.
When sugar cane was first introduced to Europe, it was the luxury of nobles, and it was very, very expensive. It was also very hard to obtain, so it was something that was saved for feasts, special occasions.
Is sugar junk food, or can we separate the two?
I think that sugar is a component of a lot of junk food, and I think having it accessible all the time, needing it the way we do, makes it a junk food. It should be a special food. It should be, well made. It should be in smaller quantities. It should be for more special occasions, and in that way, it would become a noble food again.
And Ashley Koff herself joins us now for more. Ashley, what an amazing trip.
Incredible to see.
You learned so much.
Yeah.
Not the least of which that it seems like perhaps sugar is being unfairly demonized.
I think it's appropriately demonized. We're consuming way too much of it. But what I really learned was that there's a difference between organic and regular sugar. So I look to products that contain the organic sugar in the appropriate amount.
Right. And I'm going to do a little taste test here to see if I can tell the difference, because that is something a lot of people want to know. When it comes to sugar, after all, there is a flavor component, right?
And also chefs around the world have talked about the fact that they, whether it's in their coffee or whether in what they're cooking, that they've noticed a difference with using the organic sugar versus using the regular sugar.
Do a little regular water to clear my palate. Let's try this one. You know what's interesting? Is that this one, which I can tell is the organic, because I can see that the
little
water
of the coloring.
Yeah, the color is a little different. Has a much, let me see if I can describe it. Sort of a taste of honey. It reminds me more of honey, than this, which just tastes like traditional sugar, which I'm so used to tasting all the time. And it's very rich and almost syrupy in a way.
Exactly. And in a way, more satisfying.
Yes,
and I think what we've done by finding all of these different, whether they're artificial sweeteners or they're adapted or refined sweeteners, we've taken away that satisfaction
and
from
the real taste. And a little bit goes a long way.
Absolutely.
With this. Very interesting. And looking at the organic versus the refined sugar, it's interesting to see that it actually is brown in its natural form. It's brown.
Exactly, and that's the color. And you see interesting things. This is not an organic sugar package, but they've packaged it green to look like the other ones. They're talking about carbon benefits, etc. So I would caution people, really look for that organic evaporated cane juice, organic sugar, and that's going to be what you're getting.
Fascinating. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Ashley
for having me.
For all the sweet information. And for more, you can visit AshleyKoffApproved.com and check out our health page at abcnews.com.